Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is not Parsha Talk. We're actually going to talk about the Haggadah a little bit. First thing, we're pre-selling or pre-ordering. You're pre-ordering and I'm pre-selling. That's how it goes. We want to be able to have the first printed editions of the Haggadah ready for this coming Passover. And already this week, we have basically set that we've calculated if we get 100 people to sign up to buy advanced copies. That is, they can help me basically cover the cost of the first printing. They'll get their copies right away. It's all ready to go, and we're about halfway there by my estimation. We've only began this campaign yesterday. I'd like to thank all of those who've already pre-ordered. I'd like to thank all of those who said they were going to. Don't forget, fill out the forms. What you got to do is click on the links that we'll have in the description or that you may have received in personal messages from me. The form is both in English and in Hebrew. You basically give me your address, name and address, so I could send you a copy. And also you click on one of those links to the GoFundMe or the Patreon page or one of the other options and give me your kind donation of $36. That actually doesn't go to me. It goes to the whole project and to get you the book and shipping and everything. So please do so now, and please tell your friends about it. I was speaking to a book publisher yesterday. I had approached a number of publishers. I thought they would probably, hope maybe they would want to take this on. I've been told by quite a few people involved that book publishing is just not a business anymore. Publishers don't make a lot of money, certainly not the authors. A lot of authors have told me it's just something they personally do. They shell out their own money, and they hope maybe to get some back, but it's mostly to make their parents proud, I guess. Certainly that's in a large part mine. Half revenge, half making my parents proud. I'm just joking about the revenge thing. It's more like 80% make my parents proud. And I was hoping they would take this on. And apparently they have misunderstood the Haggadah. And quite a few people are asking me also, what is the Haggadah about? Why is Haggadat Hapesah so special? So I'll tell you what I told the publishers who recontacted me yesterday after initially refusing to take on the project themselves. They basically want me to vanity publish this. And apparently, the business end people had not understood what the Haggadah is. The Haggadah is not the classic Passover Haggadah. It is something entirely different. Why? Because your Passover Haggadah has the service as it has been done in years past. It has the exact Seder. It has Yachatz. It has Safun. It has the breaking of the matzah at the beginning. It has the eating of the matzah instead of Korban Pesach. It doesn't tell you how you could eat Korban Pesach. It doesn't tell you that, according to the Rambam, there's now an option of actually eating korech. That's the sandwich, and fulfilling your obligation to eat both the matzah and the maror at the same time. What we've done the Seder until now, we eat matzah and maror together in a sandwich. That's just a memorial for what Hillel used to do when he had a Korban Pesach. But according to the Rambam, if you have Korban Pesach, go ahead, do that right now. And Hillel would say you can even do all three at the same time, although we do not hold of that opinion, interestingly enough. But you have to understand, this Haggadah, if you were, this coming year, not of those participating in Korban Pesach in Jerusalem, you happen to be outside Jerusalem, or you're among the group of people who are, unfortunately, really impure. You can't even remove that by going to a mikveh. All sorts of people would fall into that category, and there's nothing wrong with that. Then if you brought this Haggadah to the table, you wouldn't have a clue what's going on, because it is not a Haggadah for the Seder as it has been conducted until this point. Conversely, if you brought a traditional Haggadah to the Seder with Korban Pesach, you would not know what to do. You would not have the proper text. You would have the wrong instructions, the halachas, and all their ramifications and the repercussions would not be the same. You need this Haggadah. It is different. And it is not, as the publisher suggested, make a standard Haggadah and just include notes, what we would do if there was a Beis HaMikdash. I didn't like his attitude at all. I mean, he wasn't giving me a bad attitude like a teenager. I mean, I didn't like his attitude because he didn't understand something that I've tried to make clear to many people. I have been building on this, as they say in Hebrew, or I have been working toward an ideal situation. I live in the land of Israel, even though I was born abroad. Why? Because I believe this is what God wants us to do, and God actually has a plan and wants us to do He wants us to keep His commandments, do His will with a capital H. God wants a Korban Pesach. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it was. That's the way it will be. I do not like it that the printers put Tisha B'Av as a fast day when they sell me a calendar at the beginning of the year in the last week of Elul, and they say, we wish you a happy and healthy new year. And they also decide to mark down the calendar that they're going to be a fast day towards the end of the year in the summer, marking the destruction of the temple, and they'll tell me when to start the fast or when to end the fast. Chas v'shalom. It shows that they have no faith and that they're actually basically assuming it's just gonna be the way it was, and they're not hoping for something better. My calendar does not have those fast days. If they've happened, that's a terrible thing. Yeah, I had Tzom Gedalia this year, but I'm still hoping against all hope, or against all these people who apparently don't have enough faith. Asara B'Tevet is canceled this year, as is the 9th of Av, and Passover will be observed in Jerusalem. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to bring ourselves towards. And therefore, this Haggadah is for that situation. This is a very messianic Haggadah. Yes, it is. I have a very messianic religion. I live in a very messianic country. And I just like to remind people, if you had told people back in the summer of 47, or the summer of 46, or even worse, in the summer of 45, right after the Holocaust, that there would be a Jewish state, and that there would be new holidays celebrating the founding and the establishment of a Jewish state, you'd be either a maniac or you'd be a prophet. But that is the reality. We even have basically an unelected Jewish king, which is sort of a good thing, I guess, if you have that perspective. We have gotten very far. If someone had told you in 1966 what the situation would be like after 67, you would have been in that same category, a maniac or a prophet. But this is reality. And things are progressing. Sometimes it's slower than we wish. Sometimes it's just the right pace. It's all part of God's plan. But we have to do ours. And that is why we're making the Haggadah. And that is why I told the gentleman last night, I do not understand. Assuming, like I am assuming, that Korban Pesach will be offered this year for the first time in a long time. Everybody will need this Haggadah. We'll need to print thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of these Haggadot. And God willing, when the redemption will have already come to pass, and there'll be a decade afterwards, people will have taken this for granted. This is the next big thing. They need to sell these things. I told him I named a bunch of publishers. I said, if I were you fellas and your competitors, I'd be trying to have a bidding war. Who can pay Grossman the most for the rights to this Haggadah, so that we can start printing them and corner the market already? But apparently they have little faith. They have little faith in their business because they don't take risks. They're supposed to be, I'm the producer of the material. I'm just the writer. I'm not the business end. I'm just a broke, colo guy here trying to put together a nice safer. And they're supposed to have the vision and take the risk and put up the money for these things because they can make a lot of money on this. And that's why I don't understand it. I just don't get them. Everybody needs this. What is this analogous to? Lulav and esrog. Everybody needs a lulav and esrog every year comes Sukkot time. But what do? They get ready. They buy it. There's quite a few lulav and esrog dealers. They're ubiquitous now in Jewish communities. They have esrog fairs. In the olden days, unfortunately, there's some places they didn't have so many. But can you imagine if everybody knew there was this commandment to take the lulav and the esrog, but no one was preparing to do it, and there was only one fellow in the entire world who had a palm tree and an esrog tree, and he was selling lulavim and esrogim for everybody, and no one was really coming to buy or realizing what they're supposed to do. Yes, there's a guy, I have met him. He sells the sheep that they use for Korban Pesach. That's a necessary thing. But you need the Haggadah. This is a necessity for the Jewish people. I am very surprised. And I believe that's also why I've had the rabbinic endorsements that I do, because like I told the chief rabbi and his assistant, this is something Am Yisrael needs. And if you don't agree with exactly how I did this, on the details, the door is open. We're waiting for a response. If scholars greater than yours truly disagree on these points, they should actually say, I've looked over the Haggadah. And while it's true that it does mention there's a blessing to be recited on the consumption of the sacrificial meat, it should be done totally differently. Grossman has not done this right and hasn't done that right. That'd be great too. If my Rebbein would tell me, no, we believe that you're a little bit wrong in this thing, that'd be good. They should correct me. But the scholars have looked this over, and for the most part, they're pretty down with the way it is supposed to be. The chief rabbi himself has disagreed with the idea of, can we offer Korban Pesach on this in our current state, which is, he's very much entitled to his opinion. His opinion is the one that's actually happens to be followed nowadays. And this is something that has not really garnered that much criticism or controversy, to be honest, because like the Rabbanim who have seen this and have also asked me for personal copies, they realize this is what we need. Everybody needs one of these things. Every Jewish household needs one, at least those Jewish people who believe in what they pray for and believe what they say. They put their literally, no, they don't literally do this. They figuratively, they put their money where their mouth is. Join us, please. Donations are welcome. We're trying to also put together an English thing where it's completely unsubsidized. It's all entirely a work of labor of love on the part of myself and my wife, who's designed the graphics. She's really put her heart into this. Please share this message with your friends. It's a good thing. Buy your friends a copy. Buy your father a copy. Buy your brother a copy. They will need it. And God willing, we will see you all in Jerusalem this coming Passover to celebrate the festival of our redemption. Have a Shabbat Shalom. Children.